probably on account of embarrassment, the UPDF, through its spokesperson, attempted to tell a big lie to the nation that in a very shabby way, through a press conference which was held at the defense headquarters by the UPDF and defense spokesperson, was accompanied by the Deputy Chief of Military Intelligence. And the lie they attempted to tell in a shabby manner was that the wounds that Museveni bears were inflicted upon him by NUP. I don't know if NUP as the entity or individual leaders. And the logical question would be that if the Chief of Military Intelligence has received information from this citizen who has been tortured, allegedly by the leadership or individuals in NUP, what would be the logical course of action? Would the Chief of Military Intelligence ask the spokesperson to hold the press conference, or he would open files, investigate, arrest, and hold the press conference to say that these individuals, Katana, so and so, tortured Museveni, and on account of that they have been arrested and they are going to be dealt with in accordance with the law? But for a spokesperson of the institution that UPDF is, and the Deputy Chief of Military Intelligence to hold a press conference and say that we have individuals who abduct, torture citizens, you don't even mention their names, you don't arrest them, the law does not take its course, and you even say that they abduct citizens, and you don't even act on that, in itself is very shabby. They looked like a child who steals sugar and is denying, but when it is all over his face. That is how the spokesperson of the APDF and his colleague, the Deputy Chief of Military Intelligence, appeared on camera. You could tell from the way even the spokesperson was looking down, probably he was ashamed by the lies they were telling.
I see. What you're trying to bring out is that this was blatantly a lie told by the state.
And poorly executed.
But we've seen cases before like that. On my Twitter page, I actually quoted a case by a gentleman who was seated next to Eric, who had previously, testified, even sworn affidavit in court, that he had been tortured by former IGP General Kade Kaihura, and then he made a U-turn. What do you read from that? Well,
and that example that you have cited is not a unique example. And what I make out of that is that many times, people try to explain that these incidents of torture are occasioned by errant officers. But when you see very senior members of an institution come out, spin around such an unfortunate development, it speaks to two things. One is that these incidents are sanctioned by the leadership of the army and the security agencies, but that we are dealing with a regime that has lost shame. I'll point out another example of a gentleman called Samuel Masereka, who was arrested from Kasese, one of our coordinator for Kasese. He was tortured at CMI. We have even filed a case in the Civil Division of High Court. But this gentleman has been pursued so that he can accept money and turn around like Eric did. But fortunately for him, he has been he is a straight person. He has confided in us, and he's in hiding because he has refused to accept the offers of telling lies. So these are not isolated incidents. It has become the modus operandi. And it's not new. It has been happening. You remember during the campaigns when there was an explosion near where the Honorable Chagulanyi was speaking from, and the explanation was that it had come from our group, until a very well done story by the NBS exposed that the gentleman they were falsely accusing, whom they even arrested, I followed up him and found him at SIU, Norbert Ariho. It was established that the explosion indeed had originated from security agencies. You remember in Arua, when the driver to Honorable Chagulanyi was shot dead, Yasin Kauma, the allegation was that the bullet that shot him had come from Chagulanyi's group. But to date, they have never arrested or prosecuted. And you remember the guns that were paraded in Arua, allegedly to have been got from Chagulanyi's room. Eventually, again, when they were caught lying in a very shabby manner, they abandoned that line. So we are dealing with very dishonest people who have lost shame, and the nation needs to know them for that,
okay,
and always dismiss their lies with contempt.